353. I was really hoping we would be in person this month, but apparently that is not the way it's going to work out. So I wanted to take this opportunity to go over a class that I was preparing on how to read your LES. The one that's shown the first few slides is going to be an active duty LES, but they pretty much mirror each other in a lot of ways for the reserves. So I just want to go through some blocks and show you some examples of stuff that you can be looking out for. So the first line on this page, your pay is your responsibility. I mean, that is a pretty important statement. And what that means is it's your responsibility to be checking your MyPay, making sure that you are paid what you are entitled to, and that you understand how to read your LES. I can't tell what you're paid or what your debts are from my end without seeing your LES. So I want to also teach you how to look over your LES, and hopefully you can get those questions answered for yourself. So this is basically a blanket LES. Again, it's mirrored a little bit more on active duty, even though ours are laid out pretty much the same way. Blocks 1 through 9, pretty self-explanatory. Your name, last four of your social, your pay date, which is your pay entry base date, not necessarily the day you signed your contract. Years of service, your ETS. So you want to make sure that information up there is correct. Anything up there that's wrong can impact your pay, your entitlements, time and grade, time and service. Block 10, you have your entitlements. This is basically anything you're paid, whether it's base pay, BAH for housing, BAS for your food allowance, bonus payments, anything that the Army pays you is going to be listed in Block 10. Block 11 is your deductions, your federal tax, state tax, SGLI payments, if you have a TSP. If you owe a debt to the Army for some reason, those are going to be in Block 11 there. Block 12 is a reservist. We typically don't do allotments, so there really should never be anything in this section here. So over on your summary, you have your total entitlements. That means everything you were paid, your total deductions, the overall amount that was deducted from your paycheck, and then your net amount, or what you are being paid for the month. Blocks 18 and 19, those are active duty, so we don't have to worry about those at all. If you look through now down below, it says leave, blocks 25 to 32. Again, as reservists, you should never have leave accrued in there. If you do, say it's left over from when you graduated AIT, but typically those are cashed out at the end. It just takes some time for that to fall off. Or if you were on orders for more than 30 days, say ALC phase 1 and 2, or things like that, you might end up getting an accrued leave balance. If you do have any numbers in there, let me know, or Sergeant Aker, so that we can get your leave paid out. Blocks 33 to 38, federal taxes, pretty self-explanatory. Same with your FICA taxes, blocks 39 to 43. And state taxes, blocks 44 to 49. Now, one thing you may not know is Minnesota is a tax-exempt state for military pay. So if you're getting state taxes taken out and you want to be exempt, you will have to log into your MyPay, and on the left-hand side, go to Pay Changes and select Federal State Withholding. And then from there, you will edit your state taxes. And in the exemptions block, you'll put 80 and save that. That will exempt you from state taxes on your military pay. If that was a little too fast, I was going to go back and rewind and re-listen, or give me a call and we can walk through that together. So, but again, that just depends on how you want to do your taxes. Speaking of MyPay, everyone should have a username, login, and password, so you can log in no matter where you are. It's super easy to set up. I think you have to log in with your CAC in order to set that up, but I would definitely recommend that, because then no matter where you are, if you're on AT, if you're at a school, if you're just in your car, whatever the case may be, you can log in and look to make sure you're getting paid correctly, and then you'll know when you'll get paid. And this is really beneficial too, especially like at AT when you're not around a computer. You can make sure there's no issues with your pay before something happens. A couple years ago, there was a huge glitch in the system, and luckily people were checking their LESs in the field and realized that they didn't have one by the time they should have. So we were able to get that taken care of before a long amount of time passed. Anyway, moving on. So pay data, blocks 50 to 62, most of those are not going to apply to us. The only ones that really are 50, 51, and 52. That's your BAQ or BAH type if you have a spouse or with dependents or child or stuff like that. Moving on to the thrift savings plan, that's going to be there if you're enrolled in the TSP. It'll show you how much, what your percentage is you're putting in there, how much money went in there. And it doesn't show it on this LES. This one is older, but there's also a section for Roth plans. If you are enrolled in that, again, it'll show you kind of what your rate's at and then how much was deducted from your pay to be put into that Roth IRA. And then, again, it doesn't show on here, sorry, but I can touch base with this on something else. Your contributions totals. So it's year-to-date deductions, your deferred TSP, all that information is going to be in that section. And you'll see that again here coming up on some of these other LESs I have posted. And then your remarks. So this is vital, but I'm going to go into depth a little bit more on that coming up. So these next few pages are just basically breakdowns of each of those blocks. So you can take your time, pause, read through this if you want to get a little bit more information on each specific block. Same thing. All right, so this is a reserve LES. So you can see on the bottom there where it says Roth plan, CM, agency control, and contribution totals. Those are those last few things I was talking about that aren't on that first LES. So a couple things I want to show you on this, all these highlighted colors down here in your remarks. So the remarks is basically all the information that you asked me about for your pay. This is what I look at to find out. So that first line there is not highlighted, but it says your check was sent to. That'll have the name of your bank listed. Followed by, in the yellow, direct deposit date. That tells you when it's being deposited and how much. The bright blue, that's when we talk about MUTAs, that's what you're looking for. So total performance of fiscal year 20. The UTAs is 40. So this person has drilled 40 MUTAs. You're allowed 48 to the total for the whole year. So when we're coming up to the end of the fiscal year, which is September 31st, October 1st to September 31st is our fiscal year. When we're coming up on that September weapons qual, this is when you really want to be paying attention to your MUTAs. You cannot be paid more than 48 MUTAs. So if you have too many and you cannot complete that whole drill, it's important you let your leadership know. The dark blue stuff is just other types of pay. You have your RMAs, you have your active duty pay, your medical, dental. Those numbers aren't quite so important to pay attention to. It's that MUTA one that's the big one that gets people at the end of the year. The green says inactive duty training. So these are the dates that you're paid for. I have a couple other examples on some LESs further down, but so this soldier drilled 18 July, so there's two MUTAs, the AM and PM period, and 19 July, again, the AM and PM period. So that will tell you what you're being paid for. And I said I got a couple other examples coming up too. This service member has $400,000 in their SGLV, which you can see is deducted up on the top. And they also have spouse SGLI coverage or life insurance on their spouse. So if you are not married or if you're divorced and you're getting that spousal SGLI taken out, you need to make sure that you contact DEERS and make sure your spouse is no longer connected to you in DEERS. And then moving through the purple, so that's basically any kind of note. So the reason I highlighted this one is, so they're withholding the Social Security portion of your FICA tax, and it's going to be deferred but paid back to you. If those of you are following Trump's executive orders, that was part of his help for the whole COVID thing. So again, your whole bread and butter is basically down here in your remarks section. So this one is just an example. So this soldier completed AP. So it has active duty training from 17 to 30 August. Again, showing what they were paid for, and then when they were paid, how much they were paid, and things like that. This one I didn't highlight, but you can see where like the third line down says basic pay debt balance of $412.60. So this is telling you they have an original debt from 19 and 20 September, and their unpaid debt balance is $412.60. So what that means is this soldier was paid for those days erroneously and they shouldn't have been. So they're collecting that debt back. Typically, anytime you have a debt, you will always have a comment in there and it'll tell you what it was for. Whether it's overpayment for a day, or if you're on active duty orders and you're paid for the 31st of the month, they'll take that back because the Army only does 30-day calendar months. I don't know why. So this one here says other credits, 3401. I get asked this a lot. Well, what am I paid this for? So again, you're going to go down to your remarks, and I should have highlighted it, but I didn't. And the third line up from the bottom, it says FICA refund, $34.01 for the tax year. Again, that's that comment where they're withholding the Social Security portion from your FICA tax. They're paying you for it, or I'm sorry, they're deducting it, and then you'll receive a separate LES with that credit back. So that's what a lot of those other credits, LESs, are that you're getting right now. All right, so this one's kind of a busy LES, which I think is perfect. So you can see there's a little bit of a debt balance that's above the purple highlighted from 25 bucks from 22 September for life insurance. So that means they did not receive a paycheck or an LES in August, so they accrued that debt for their SGLV. So they took that out of this paycheck. You can also see the MyPaid password was changed, so that's always going to be in your remarks. And then over on your right, again on the green side, you have this soldier was paid for the 13th of September, so on and so forth. And then below that in the yellow, it says additional assembly for nuclear training. This is what the Army calls your medical and dental appointments. So when you go to your PHA, you send me your stuff and you get paid, that's what it'll show, additional assembly for nuclear training. And then this soldier also has a readiness management period for 27 September, which is an RMA. Again, it's just a different type of pay. So there can be multiple forms of duty on the same LES. So again, looking at those remarks to make sure that you're paid for what you did is key. And a lot of times if you give me your medical stuff at a drill, I pay it with drill pay. So you're getting paid for it. It's just on that typical drill LES. So you just really have to read through those comments to see if you are getting paid what you are entitled. So that's the end. So if you have any questions on your LES, please let me know. But I'm going to start having you do your own reading on the comments because it's important that you take control of your pay. So I'll just, So again, if you have any questions, let me know. But make sure you're reading your remarks to see if you can answer your question first. One day you could be in a leadership role where that soldier is looking to you for these answers. And I think it's vital that you kind of know where to direct them to, and hopefully this will help you out. So hopefully also I will see you all in December.